Hello, and welcome to Soft Packing for Shipping with John Deal. Now we're ready to build our soft pack. This is cheaper than building and shipping a crate. The materials that we will use are less expensive, and since weight is a major factor in calculating shipping costs, using lighter and less materials will help reduce those costs. Soft packing is a good way to protect your art for continental ground shipping when you can't find an art shipper for the job. So your FedEx, UPS, DHL, etc., where you need to get your work there, but you need to make sure that it is protected from light bumps and environmental factors. When shipping large and or heavy works, or when shipping overseas, you should always use a crate, especially when the value of the work is significant enough to warrant it, i.e. shipping works that are worth 5 figures and up. Soft packing is generally packing the box between a soft layer like bubble wrap or insulation foam and a hard layer like double thick cardboard or plywood. I prefer to use robust materials for this. So here I'll be using blue insulation foam and Luan plywood. You should be able to pick these up from your local building supply store. I had some blue foam kicking around. There wasn't enough to cover all sides of the box, so instead of heading out to the store to purchase a full sheet, I chose to split this one in half. Since it's 2 inches thick, it'll give me 2 sheets that are approximately 1 inch each. Now I will need to lay out my cuts and figure out the best way to optimize my materials. I'll put one of the sheets aside for now. The work is small enough that I can just place it on the material and move it around to get the best cut. Keep in mind that the front and back will be tight to the box. We don't need any excess for these. I'm going to cut the outside edges wider to accommodate for the overhang needed. This overhang will be approximately double the thickness of the sheet, so the edges will butt up nicely to both the front and the back. Once I've figured out where to make my cut, I'm going to score the foam with the knife while the blade is retracted. You can use whatever you like for this. Pen, pencil, what have you. I just need a general idea where to make my cut, so I'm happy with that. Using the ruler as a guide, I'm going to use less pressure and make several cuts into the foam. I do this so that I have more control over the blade and reduce the chance of errors or accidents. Because I need 2 of each side, I want to try and lay out my materials optimally. The sides will need to be about 4.5 inches, so I need to try and make sure that I have enough room for those pieces to be cut out. Quickly transfer the measurements of the first piece, and then cut out the matching piece. Okay, now we have the front and the back. Let's make an art sandwich. As mentioned earlier, the sides will have to be cut larger by approximately double the thickness of the sheet. This will provide enough material that they can butt up against the faces to complete the box. Take a quick measurement just to make sure. Looks like about 4.5 inches. Now I'll go through the process of laying out my cuts to see how to best optimize my materials. It takes a few minutes if you're doing it on the fly like this. If you prefer, it's not too difficult to lay this all out on a cut list beforehand. Just be sure to give yourself a tolerable margin for error in case reality isn't quite what you expected. With all of the pieces cut, we can see how well they fit together. Not bad, but I think we can shave off a bit here and a bit there. I'd like to get the front and the back to be flush with the sides. This will improve the fit of the plywood sheets. That's next. Let me introduce you to the hero of this story, filament tape, also known as strapping tape. This tape has fiberglass strands running through it, and it's really strong. Some brands will have a lattice structure woven into it, making it even stronger. By the end of this video, we will have almost totally covered this package in filament tape. I'll go ahead and tape the foam box up in preparation for the final stage. I just wanted to show you, I'm going to take new dimensions again. So we're going to go 15. So these front and backs are going to be 15 by 20 and 3/4. Just so you see that extra step. And I know the light changed. I opened the garage door. Bye. Luan is a pretty great material to work with. Not only is it lightweight and relatively inexpensive, I can cut it using just my utility knife. I do have to spend a bit of time scoring it until I can snap the two pieces apart. But at least I don't have to take out my circ and set up everything for just a few cuts. I am lightly trimming down the edge. This is also pretty easy to do, just be sure to respect the blade. Angle your blade and cut away the frayed edge. And this is the stage when we tape the crap out of this soft pack. My daughter didn't believe me, but I will go through at least one roll of tape and then some. And that's just for a small work. I get a little fancy and finicky with it. Once I've taped around the pack fully, I offset the next round and build up a tape wall. After this is done, I fold over the sides. I secretly love folding these over neatly. Once I've done this to all of the ends, I will go around the whole work to finish up taping over the sides. And then, just a little more tape, and I think it's pretty well sealed at this point. Recap. There's polytarp wrapped around the work with a copy of the condition report inside. Then, there's a cardboard box around that with the details of the work written or otherwise indicated on it. Then another box of insulation foam, a hard layer of Luan or other plies attached to the front and back, and finally, there is a crap load of filament tape to seal up the rest. Put your packing slip on the front, and don't forget to label it fragile and indicate which end is up. If the work is particularly fragile and you need to include a shock indicator, you can adhere it now with any additional handling instructions. If this isn't good enough to protect the work, you need a full crate. Thank you for joining me, and happy trails. If you want to know more about the technical world of art, like and subscribe.